Sorry, I had to unmute the mic. And welcome to our official SummerSlam Cleveland prediction show. This is Top Rope Spoilers. I'm Steve with On the Ring Apron, the current running Season 5 leader as our group continues its Season 5 run through our WWE predictions for the year. And we hit what most define as the second biggest event of the year, SummerSlam, live this Saturday from Cleveland. Unfortunately, due to work conflicts and scheduling, Kia and Alyssa are unable to join us for this one. We've tried to set up blanks, tried to set up some time earlier in the week, but it just did not ultimately work out. So it will only be me doing a very briefered version of our show, so giving basically the setup and then presenting our predictions. The ladies have given their choices. For our OTRA universe out there, be sure to check out our YouTube community page, as that is where our official votes are being listed right now. They are live, and we are seeing the results as they come in to kind of see where everybody's leaning for this upcoming event. We actually fly out on Friday to head to Cleveland, so if you spot me with the OTRA belt as well as a Unafala around my neck, be sure to stop in, get a selfie with us, say hi, whatever. But we definitely always enjoy you guys. Of course, we'll be at the Mania Club tailgate. Shout out DeMario, Fonseca, everybody for putting on such a wonderful show. And also to Michael for being the one who made the phone calls and getting everything set up. For those of you who are new to our show, first of all, welcome. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe. All of our social medias are... Nope, wait, we had it that way. It's over here. Or over here in the corner. We're on a little bit of everything, so we definitely have the opportunity to be able to bring you guys in, and be sure to bring in your chats with us. And, of course, if you're watching in the chat right now, be sure to drop in some comments as well as... anything you'd like to do, roses, stars, anything that helps us out, because, hey, we got to keep the lights on. Speaking of keeping the lights on, we unfortunately do not have a sponsor for this episode. Normally we get, a call from either Dunkin' Donuts or Little Caesars or somebody that can normally sponsor us, but unfortunately no such luck this time around, so we're going to have to keep the lights on ourselves for this one. But as I said, let me go ahead and get our little countdown clock started here, and we'll go ahead and run through the shows real quick. I'm going to do about 3 minutes per each one. So if you're jumping in here a little bit later, you'll have a chance to be able to go back and watch it. This will be uploaded onto YouTube, as well as our other social medias a little later in the day. But let's go ahead and start off with our first match on the card, and that is for the WWE Women's Championship from SmackDown, and that is a singles match between Bayley and the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. Now, ultimately, I thought we might have lost the feed there for a second. If we did, apologies. But again, Bayley, Nia Jax, Queen Nia for the WWE Women's Championship. A little bit of technical difficulties there. But ultimately, Queen Nia earning the right to this championship match by winning the Queen of the Ring tournament. She successfully took out what I affectionately refer to as the Big Three, which was Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair, one behind the other, all on SmackDown, and then ultimately defeated Lyra Valkyria in the finals at King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia to win the right to be able to be the Queen of the Ring, only the second one in WWE's history, Zelina Vega being the first, and getting the opportunity to challenge the winner or the women's champion from her brand at SummerSlam. Now, it's not the first time that we've seen these two go head-to-head. In fact, they've gone head-to-head many times through their days in both NXT and on the main roster. And ultimately, Bayley, surprisingly, has had the upper hand, despite the fact that Nia holds a significant size and strength advantage. But it does be made to be seen that in most circumstances, Nia Jax has been unable to get the victory when it counts the most. Bayley also making it very clear that she has no respect for Nia due to the fact that in the past, despite the fact that Nia states that she has injured Bayley in the past, she said it's because you're reckless and you're big and you don't do things the way that you're supposed to do them. So unfortunately, a lot of people taking a decent amount of offense to that, especially Nia. Now, Nia does have one advantage in her corner, potentially, and that is the holder of Ms. Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton, who has decided to side with Queen Nia through all of this And of course, holding the Money in the Bank contract does hold Tiffany Stratton a significant advantage over either of these two, should she attempt to try to interfere, which she has tried to potentially cash in once or twice since winning the contract a month ago. But Nia has stepped in each time and prevented her from being able to do so. I would argue this will be Bayley's toughest challenge since winning the title at WrestleMania off of former Damage Control member Io Sky, but she will have her work cut out for her with Nia Jax. Moving into our official selections, let's see here, looking at my chart here. We're going Bayley across the board on this one. The ladies mentioning that Nia has been unable to get the job done when it matters the most, with the exception of a single WrestleMania over 6 years ago, a championship that she would end up losing less than a month later, ironically, to the same person, Alexa Bliss. And ultimately, I just feel like there's more storyline here, and Tiffany's involvement could potentially cost Nia the match here. So we are going Bayley across the board. Again, you can go to our YouTube community page, place in your votes. Again, we're at On the Ring Apron. And just throw your votes in there, and we will definitely include it as part of our potential show. Let me reset my clock here, so that way we can move into the second one. And let's go ahead and move into match number 2, and it is for the Intercontinental Championship, a rematch from our last Premium Live event, as Sami Zayn will again defend the Intercontinental Championship against Big Dog Bron Breakker. Now, Breakker, up until his match against Sami last month, had been undefeated in singles competition since rejoining the main roster, I suppose. Of course, these two people, two of the three people to hold the very unique distinction of having a head-to-head victory over Walter/GUNTHER, with Ilya Dragunov being the third. But Bron suffering his first defeat, and says himself that he maybe took Zayn a little bit too lightly. Zayn has made himself a living of saying, keep treating me as the underdog. I'm tired of being viewed that way. I'm the champion. I should be viewed as the favorite going into any match. But it seems like Sami's victory over Bron last month has pushed Bron past his breaking point, no pun intended, so that way he can be able to win the Intercontinental Championship. Now, Sami Zayn over the last several years has made it a habit of being able to be at his best when the lights are on the brightest, winning a WrestleMania main event, ending the long run of the Usos when teaming with Kevin Owens. He pushed Roman Reigns to his limit when he was still champion, and of course handed the first singles defeat on the main roster to GUNTHER when he beat him 4 months ago at WrestleMania to win the very Intercontinental Championship that he is defending. It will definitely be another tall task for Sami, but if there's one thing that we've proven is that he is very similar to that of a cockroach. You simply can't seem to put him down. You can't seem to finish him off. And Sami just continues to keep fighting back. The question is, will Bron have enough breaker in him to be able to complete the push here? Moving to the picks for all of us. Let's see. Kia is going with Sami Zayn. She says that Sami continues to put on the show when the lights are the brightest and just can't see him losing the championship right now so early in his reign. However, Alyssa and I are both going with Bron Breakker to win it. We do feel like that him losing at the last Premium Live event was the right move to set him up as a more sadistic heel in this particular storyline, but we do feel the moment is right. Maybe Sami creating some story that he's, of course, has also had Ilya Dragunov involved in this story, potentially could play a role in all of this, but we do feel like this is the one where Breakker finally goes over the top and is able to win the championship. So Kia going with Sami Zayn to retain. Alyssa and I are both going with Bron Breakker to win the Intercontinental Championship this Saturday at SummerSlam. Is anybody going to be in Cleveland? You know, if you're going to be in Cleveland and you're in our chat or you're watching later on YouTube, throw a comment in there or send us a message, DM through Twitter or Instagram or something, so that way we can know about it. You know, we're doing the Mania Club tailgate, plenty of good food, plenty of good drinks. So we definitely want to make sure that everybody that has an opportunity to be able to see us while we have the chance is able to do so. So if you're going to be in Cleveland for SummerSlam, give us a shout out real quick so that way we can do so. Speaking of shout outs, we also have recently joined Cameo. So you'll have the ability to be able to get a special birthday or a special shout out from us. We also do giveaways all the time. So be sure to potentially jump in on those as well. Moving to the third match on the card, and that is another mid-card championship match. This one over on SmackDown for the United States Championship, as incumbent champion Logan Paul will defend the United States Championship against LA Knight. Now, Knight for the last several months has been trying to find his stride and ultimately has decided to set his sights on Logan and the United States Championship. Now, Logan has essentially ducked LA Knight at every turn, forcing Knight to have to travel away from the WWE ring in order to be able to go find him. He showed up at Logan's house, has shown up at different events that he's appeared in terms of him helping out his brother Jake get ready for his upcoming boxing matches, but inevitably was able to get Logan Paul to sign the contract to defend his championship in his hometown of Cleveland. Now, Logan, it depends on how you look at it. The idea of a person being essentially a a very part-time talent, he has definitely done good work. He is fire on the mic, but so is LA. And ultimately, you can see these two having a very good war of attrition over the last several months, but it does look like this is going to be the culmination of where it's going to begin. A lot of people in the WWE Universe feeling that LA Knight should have already been crowned as a champion up to this point, but it has been unfortunate that he has not been able to win a championship since joining the main roster, despite the fact that he is one of the more over people on the entire card. It'll be interesting to see, will they have Logan Paul successfully defend his title once again at the very event that he won the championship at in the first place, and that being SummerSlam last year? Or will they have LA Knight finally capture gold for the first time? Outside of the WWE ring, Logan Paul and his wife are expecting their first child soon, and of course he also assists on a number of fronts with Jake Paul, so it stands to reason that he would be on the brink of getting a break, but, it's in his hometown, and we see how that normally goes, especially when you're a part-timer, so we will see if that trend continues. Our official picks for this one, let me see what they took here. All right, so Alyssa is going LA Knight to win the championship. She does feel both mid-card titles are going to switch. She feels that it's LA Knight's time, and he has been long, she even put 2 longs in there, overdue to be able to win the United States Championship as well as any championship. Kia and I, however, are both going with Logan Paul to retain. Logan, we just feel like, has got a real grip on that international audience as well as the audience that comes from outside of WWE, thanks to his prowess on social media. And also, with it being in his hometown of Cleveland, we do feel that he potentially could sneak his way out with a championship because he's going to be likely more of a fan favorite there than he would be at any other location. So, Alyssa goes with LA Knight to win the championship. Kia and I both going with Logan Paul to retain. About halfway through. How are we enjoying it so far? Be sure, if you're in our live, or if you're watching this later on YouTube, make sure you're throwing your picks down the bottom, or go to our YouTube community page and place them up there. Resetting the clock here so that way we can move to our 4th match on the card, and that is our only non-title match on the entire card, but could arguably be the one with the most heat and the most emotion behind it, as after months and months of back and forth but being unable to put their hands on each other, we finally get the head-to-head showdown between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Now, this all stems back to CM Punk returning last year at Survivor Series, Drew McIntyre feeling like, oh no, you left, took a similar path. The only difference is I've come back and I've been champion. The first thing you did is come back and immediately get re-injured again. But Punk has seemingly made it a point to take that personally and has gone out of his way to ensure that Drew, on 3 separate occasions, was unable to walk out the door of the arena that they were in with the World Heavyweight Championship, including an attack that would allow Drew McIntyre to get cashed in on at WrestleMania by current World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest right after he beat Seth Rollins in this. Now, speaking of Rollins, he's also the special guest referee in this match. And anyone who is anyone knows that Seth Rollins has absolutely no love for either of these two gentlemen. In fact, he has said, I'm a bitter man. I am a person who holds a grudge. And I absolutely am going to take every one of those grudges and previous slights, and I am going to factor them into this match. So I do expect that Seth Rollins, despite the fact that he's not on the card, is going to create a great amount of comedy for this match. But ultimately, he is going to have to count the 1, 2, 3 for one of these two gentlemen. And I am curious to see ultimately which one is the one that will finally step over the line with Seth and cause him to no doubt have a small implosion and essentially cost themselves the match because Seth feels that it was the ultimate slight. Moving to the official picks on this match, feelings being brought into it also. He brought AJ and the pet into the story as well. So we can't be doing that if we're Drew McIntyre. It'll be curious to see if he can bring that sadistic side out of him. But we are looking at this one. I'm actually the only one that's going to go with CM Punk on this one. I do feel like Punk is due to get that win. Obviously, him getting injured at the Royal Rumble, was unfortunate. Cost him his match at WrestleMania. It was likely going to be against Seth for the world title. Drew has been the one that has kind of taken the spot. But at the end of the day, you just feel like, Punk is overdue for that win, and he will find ultimately a way to get it done, and Seth reluctantly is going to count the 3. Both Kia and Alyssa are going with Drew McIntyre. They feel like he has been screwed over too many times by Punk, and some of them perhaps maybe a little bit unfairly. Drew, however, has made his own bet in this situation, so would not be shocked if it goes the other way. But ultimately, I am going with CM Punk. Kia and Alyssa both going with Drew McIntyre. 3 matches to go left on our card in what is this very abbreviated version of our top rope spoilers. We now move into our tri-main event, beginning with the one remaining women's world title match, and that is for the Women's World Championship, as this bitter rivalry now finally meets its culmination as the current Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan, will go head-to-head with Mommy, the returning Rhea Ripley. Now, anyone who's been anyone knows exactly where the feelings in this story lie and how you choose to view things, and who is the face, who's the heel, who's the bad person, who's the good person is really dependent upon your point of view. It was Rhea Ripley who ultimately injured Liv Morgan and put her on the shelf for almost 8 months, dating all the way back to around the later part of the spring of last year. Liv would end up sitting out all the way until the Royal Rumble, would for the second year in a row be the second to last one eliminated, and also would be the last one eliminated in the Elimination Chamber, costing her an opportunity to be able to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Rhea would ultimately defeat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, but then would take an injury of her own from the returning Liv Morgan, and Rhea would be forced to relinquish the Women's World Championship, ultimately won by Becky Lynch, but inevitably was won away by Liv Morgan. Now, Liv is showing off a sadistic side of her that I don't think we've seen in her 10 years. You can go back and look at the Ladies Pour the Tea episodes. They have discussed at length whether Liv Morgan at this stage can be defined as a proper role model for the young ladies that are watching WWE and NXT at this point, because of the now demeanor of being a man-stealer, being a person who is out to make people's lives miserable with the quote-unquote revenge tour. And she says herself that ultimately the revenge tour will come to an end at SummerSlam. The issue has been that Rhea's little pet, I suppose, Dominic Mysterio, has now been in the crosshairs of Liv Morgan, first in love, but now in hate, as Dominic has rejected Liv at nearly every turn and finally spouted out his complete hatred for Liv Morgan, thus breaking her heart with a very good promo they ran on Monday Night Raw. Is this the end of the revenge tour for Liv Morgan as she finally gets the win over Rhea Ripley that she has sought for nearly 2 years, or will Rhea Ripley ultimately conquer Liv Morgan and win back the championship that she never officially lost? Moving to our official picks, this is head and heart really for everyone, each in their own way. Everybody has their reasonings as to why they're ultimately siding with one person over another. But the one thing that we can say about our official picks is the fact that it is essentially going to be some type of shenanigans. I don't know if it's going to be from Dominic Mysterio. I don't know if it's going to be from Finn Balor or JD McDonough. Or, if ultimately they will leave this to a simple one-on-one, but you don't feel like this is going to be a match that's going to have just the two of them and that's it. There is going to be something that is going to turn the match, and as a result, all three of us are selecting Liv Morgan to retain the Women's World Championship. We do feel like Rhea is going to eventually win it back at some stage, but we do feel like there's going to be a swerve of some kind here, and it is going to favor Liv Morgan. So Morgan retains in the eyes of all three of us. 2 matches to go, and it is the 2 World Championship matches. And we will begin on Monday Night Raw with the head-to-head match for the World Heavyweight Championship, as the incumbent champion, El Campeon of the Judgment Day, Damian Priest, will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against the winner of the King of the Ring tournament, the Ring General, GUNTHER. Now, GUNTHER has once again been on another unstoppable reign since losing the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania to Sami Zayn. GUNTHER successfully holding the championship for 666 days before finally falling to Zayn in what has been his only singles defeat since rejoining the main roster. Damian Priest, however, on the other hand, is taking a completely different path, saying that this has been a championship long deserved. And during Rhea's absence, he ultimately was able to lead the Judgment Day to their success that they've had, even in Rhea Ripley's absence. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship by finally cashing in Money in the Bank on Drew McIntyre with the assist from CM Punk, and has been a very favorable champion since then, retaining over the likes of people like Seth Rollins before inevitably having to square off against the Ring General. GUNTHER has literally massacred every single person that has been in his warpath since his creation and inclusion into really NXT UK, into NXT, and now into the WWE main roster. And it has always seemed inevitable that he would be the one who is going to be a world champion sooner rather than later. The question is SummerSlam going to be the moment where he finally gets that culmination and the coronation, going from the Ring General to the King General to General Champion? Damian Priest and GUNTHER for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, and what I really do believe is going to be a fantastic match. And honestly, I think it's your match of the night. I really do feel that this is going to be one where Priest has shown what he is capable of. GUNTHER has absolutely shown his ability to be a strong person while also holding a great amount of stamina for a man his size. And I really do feel that the inclusion of Judgment Day members, potentially Liv Morgan as well, could ultimately pave the road for this. Does Finn Balor come out to try to help Damian? Do they honor his wishes of letting him try to do this on his own? Does GUNTHER have a back pocket plan? We haven't seen Ludwig Kaiser in a while. So does he potentially have a plan in his back pocket in the event that things start to go south for his one shot at the world title? Ultimately, I am going to be the only one who is going to take GUNTHER to win the championship. I do feel that the moment is either here or at Bash at Berlin, which is coming up in about a month. But I just feel like the moment is set up for Priest to give absolutely everything he has. He has been a more than admirable champion, but he isn't going to be able to get past the Ring General, and we're going to see a new world champion. However, Key and Alyssa believe in Priest's abilities and also believe that in combination with the strength of the Judgment Day should barely be enough to at least get Damian Priest out of here with the title. It may be a sneak win, it might be a disqualification, but they do believe that Damian Priest will ultimately retain the championship and be able to move into the next section of the year with the title still around his waist. So I'm going GUNTHER to win, Key and Alyssa going Damian Priest to retain. And that brings us to the main event. Already has been agreed upon and has already been declared by WWE, as well as confirmed by Cody Rhodes himself, as it will be for the undisputed WWE Championship over on SmackDown, as the American Nightmare and undisputed WWE Champion, Cody Rhodes will defend his title against the leader of the Bloodline and self-proclaimed Tribal Chief, Solo Sikoa. Now, this, of course, all stems from Cody Rhodes successfully ending and finishing his story at WrestleMania 40, ending the over 1,300-day reign as champion of the former Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Since then, we have not seen or heard from Roman Reigns since, and Solo Sikoa has self-proclaimed himself to be the new Tribal Chief, bringing in the likes of his family members, such as Jacob Fatu, as well as the Tonga brothers. He has laid waste to virtually every person who has stepped in his path, and the new Bloodline, affectionately coined the Bloodline 2.0, has run roughshod once again over SmackDown, but this time with a vengeance and a ferocity that we didn't see from Roman Reigns and the Usos when they were running things several years ago. Cody has vowed to bring an end to the Bloodline and felt he did it when he defeated Roman Reigns with a lot of assistance at WrestleMania, but now he once again stares into the eyes of the Tribal Chief as Solo Sikoa has vowed to do what Roman Reigns could not, and that is take the WWE Championship from Cody Rhodes and bring it back to the Anoa'i family and back into the Bloodline. Does Cody have enough help in his corner left, as we have seen both Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Randy Orton all get injured by the hands of the Bloodline? Does Cody have enough people left in his corner? Does Solo Sikoa have another person or another trick up his sleeve, as tends to happen? And also, do we get the potential return either during or after the match of the true Tribal Chief in most people's eyes, that being Roman Reigns? We will see how it all ventures out as they will compete in the main event of SummerSlam for the undisputed WWE Championship. When it comes to our official picks, each of us have our feeling and direction, but all of us essentially hit the same point, and that is we feel that this is going to be the time in which we are going to have the best opportunity for Roman Reigns to return prior to the Royal Rumble next year. However, we do feel that when that time comes, Solo Sikoa does not necessarily need to be champion in order for that story to be main event caliber. The Bloodline has proven that they can be able to carry the roster without having to hold the title, and Cody brings his own sense of flair as well, that even if he was to lose the title, he is still absolutely in the main event picture. With that being said, though, we do feel like the time is not right for Cody to only have a 150-ish day reign after ending a run of nearly over 1,300 days by Roman Reigns. So all three of us, me a little more reluctantly than them, we are all going with Cody Rhodes to retain at SummerSlam. And with that, that does bring an end to this abbreviated version of our SummerSlam picks. What did you think? Did we get them right? Did we get them wrong? We always want the opportunity to be able to hear from our OTRA universe. Again, all of our social medias are right down here in this corner. We're on TikTok, we're on X, we're on Cameo, YouTube, of course. We're right here. Of course, on TikTok Live, Hive, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Members of Mania Club. And, of course, you know, the holder of the OTRA Championship, which we will gladly be displaying around my big fat waist once we get to Cleveland this upcoming weekend. So if you spot me, I always wear this. I'm going to have on a Eulafala. So definitely take the time to come over, say, hey, Mania Club members, looking forward to seeing you guys at the tailgate before the event. And for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, you know, all of our stuff's right down here. Like, subscribe. You know, we put out a lot of good information. The ladies love to discuss topics that are necessarily outside of WWE on their show Pour the Tea. And I also hold my own show called Plate Exchange, where I actually take all of the championships and get first access to all of the new side plates once they are given to the performers on the main and rosters as well as NXT. Ultimately, we're able to be the next one to get copies so we can have an opportunity to be able to show those off. All of those episodes are in our YouTube right now, so definitely take the time to go take a look at them. But with that, I need to get back to it. But hate that we had to have the abbreviated version of this one. The ladies promise they'll be back next time. Hopefully work schedules out, but hey, we got to keep the lights on and everything else. So representing both Kia and Alyssa, this is Steve with On the Ring Apron, a subsidiary of Mania Club. This has been our Top Rope spoilers for SummerSlam Cleveland this Saturday. This will be uploaded to YouTube here in a few minutes, but ultimately to everyone out there, you guys have yourself a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you Saturday. Bye!